Welcome back. We're back. Two fans, one Paul, myself, David Quist, lovely co-host KB Kirk Brown. It's championship weekend. Lots to talk about. A lot of gig games. KB, of course, in the championship weekend. A lot of news still in the coaching carousel. We'll probably start there. A little bit of news about Michigan State, and then we'll deep dive. But let's start the KB in Arizona. We'll talk about some coaching stuff, and then we'll talk about the conference games. KB.
Yeah, I mean, really fun weekend. Wish Michigan was here. Wish either of our teams were here. You know, we got another basically bye week for the next couple of weeks before bowl season.
Bowl mania.
In the playoffs. But this is going to be a fun weekend of games. You also have Duke versus MSU in basketball Saturday, which is really
Michigan
fun
State
as well.
hockey.
Michigan State hockey. So there's a lot of good games that are going to be on here, and excited to talk about them. But we got to go to one of the best universities, one of the most respected universities, Penn State.
Dumpster.
And the absolute shit show that has been occurring in Happy Valley over the course of the last couple weeks. I think this really started with the unbelievable loss to Oregon after going into overtime, followed up by the devastating loss to UCLA. And it's all kind of just steamrolled from there, and they are now in a position where it looks like they're on maybe their fourth or fifth coaching candidate.
10th option.
Everyone has basically told them, hey, appreciate you, not interested, and they got themselves huge pay raises. So I do find it pretty funny.
Crumbled Cookie said, fuck off.
Yeah, they were really in on Sataki. It sounds like everything was signed, and BYU coach Sataki was basically went to the guys and was like, hey, I'm out, like, I appreciate you. And they were like, whoa. What's the problem? Why are you leaving? And he's like, well, you guys just aren't giving me the resources. BYU isn't respected enough. We don't have the facilities, da-da-da-da-da. And they had some CEOs be there and be like, what do you need, my guy? You aren't leaving. And that kept them there. So now Penn State's in a free fall. I don't know who they're going to possibly get.
Campbell.
Campbell maybe, but he's probably not wanted to leave for a long time, but I could see him going there. He's going to be walking into a horrible situation. They had 2 kids sign on early recruiting days. I think I saw 9 players went from Penn State to Virginia Tech to follow Franklin, and then I think another 12 to 15 guys went to other places. So just an absolute horrible setup on recruiting.
We are.
I think they're not recruiting well. I think they were 134th in recruiting. I don't know how their AD doesn't get fired. If they have a GM, he needs to leave. Get them all out of there. Talk about this a bit, but Quist, what are your thoughts? Do you agree? Anything you want to throw in here? Because it's just been, I said this right before. It couldn't happen to a better university,
Yeah, they covered up a lot of shit for a long time, didn't they? Oregon legit broke them. I mean, who would have thought like a double overtime game would lead to an absolute dumpster fire? This could set them back for 10 years, KB. I mean, every coach pretty much said no, or they fucked it up. BYU coach probably wasn't even their first choice, let's be honest. I'm kind of curious who their 1-2 was. We'll never know. Maybe it was Lanning. They probably wanted him. They probably wanted DeBoer. They probably want a big name. And they just swung and missed. And their AD.
In a couple years, Quist, I would love like a behind-the-scenes sports docu.
Oh my God, it'd be
everything
unreal.
That came, because it'd be so interesting to see everything that's unfolded. Because this is almost, I'm not going to call it a death penalty, but this is
You're killing your program
as a death penalty can be. And everyone on the board and everyone there is kind of just like, nope, we're just going to close our eyes and it's going to get fixed.
You should not have fired Franklin. I don't think Franklin's like an amazing coach, but he's going to get you 10 wins. He got you to the semifinal right about a year ago now, and you fired him, which is fine. Make that decision, but you better have a fucking plan, and you didn't have a plan.
Yeah, I agree with that critique, Quist. Is like, it's fine making that decision and be like, hey, we want to compete for championships, but from everything I heard, it sounds like the NIL isn't there, that people were taking a bunch of discounts to pay for Franklin, that kids should just want to go to Penn State because we are.
It's in the middle of nowhere.
And I feel like they've overvalued themselves. It's like someone puts a house on the market that's like, well, I want $5 million for it, and then the realtor is like, hey, like let's offer 4.2. Like, this is like, people aren't even going to attempt to buy it, and then he gets an offer for 4 like 6 months later, and he's like, no, and now the house is going for like 2.5, and he's like, I need to sell it, just sell it. I just feel like they didn't have a plan, and they're just they're without a rudder. and you can tell like who are you going to commit to? You're committing to Penn State that doesn't even have. I don't know. It's a terrible situation. And the interim head coach Terry Smith is who a lot of people in the program are rallying behind. What?
He's going to go to Memphis or UConn.
Yeah, and the reason why it sounds like Penn State isn't interested in hiring him is he's part of the old guard with Sandusky and defending Paterno, and it sounds like the board. This is all rumors, by the way. This is just like the board isn't in on a guy that defended Patino, and they don't want that brought back up. But yeah, this could absolutely be a death penalty to the program, and we see like the transfer portal is going to open soon, man. What is that exodus going to look like? They're losing a lot of talent to the NFL. That a bunch of seniors come back this year. I mean, who's going to play them? They're going to have like 70 new players next year on their roster playing.
Yeah, it matters to the coaches too. I mean, obviously they're the higher. If it's Campbell, they'll have like a pseudo Iowa State team if he gets a lot of guys to go. But yeah, we'll see how it plays out. Absolutely terrible decision making, no plans in place, and obviously Franklin is a heck of a recruiter because guys followed him to Virginia Tech, and it seems like he could be. I don't think they'll be an amazing program off the start, KB, but they could easily be in a bowl game next year. And we all like Virginia Tech's entrance. Sounds like it's a cool place to be. I know Sam, our friend, has been there, the program, so we'll keep an eye on him.
Yeah, and like you said, Quiz, too, is like what is the transfer portal going to look like? How many people are going to follow Franklin just from Penn State solely, much less to other universities, especially if you don't have a head coach solidified and set up and put together in a plan with the AD, right? Because you got to think, too, is like now the AD's job is riding with a guy that he probably didn't want. Because some of the reports I read is that they're not necessarily ready to move on from the AD, which is just crazy at this point, especially with how bad Penn State athletics have genuinely been in basically all sports outside of football.
Hockey's just got a lot of money, and they're not playing. They're a good, but it's just like a put together team with a bunch of cash.
Yeah. So
good segue though, KB.
Yeah.
Let's segue into Michigan State because I believe our AD has done a tremendous job. Silent killer. I want to kudos to Smith and his coaching staff because they made this transition even easier for us. I think 99% of the recruiting class signed, including Cade Kaufman from East Kentwood.
Simpson Gash is the only.
He's the only one I didn't see anything about. I hope he stays. He's really good. His brother's on the team too.
He reopened his recruitment.
He said that we're like a safe, which is a bummer. Like a safe place. He's a good get. I mean, his brother's on the team. They're both really athletic. He was a killer for Detroit Catholic Central this year, but that's kudos to Smith and his guys for making it easier. It happened quick, as Fitz said, but I mean, the transition couldn't be as smoother as you could ask for compared to like Penn State. And then I just dropped in our group chat that Alessio Milivojevic, Millie V, if you would say, is staying at Michigan State. That's a good win. I think Charles is probably gone, which is fine. Alessio played well going down the stretch. He's got great pocket awareness. He's athletic enough to make it happen. If we can get some guys in the portal, I think this could be I'm an optimistic KB. We can make a bowl game. That's the baseline. So I just want to shout out how we handled this hire. I thought Jay Bett did a good job. Nothing leaked. He didn't really say anything about Smith, so the writing was on the wall. And then tomorrow, expect another announcement, 10 o'clock. We'll probably get a $400 million deal for NIL. I'm assuming that's the stadium.
From Acrisure.
That's the rumor, Acrisure. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Big B2. I mean, Acrissure's got a bunch of money, but they like a bunch of people such as life. I don't understand. But hey, if you got money, throw it on a fucking stadium and feel good about it because they did that for the Steelers too.
They let go a bunch of people, but then the money got bought back in shares, and then the shareholders made $1 billion, right? Like because they also sponsor, I believe,
Steelers.
It's Pittsburgh's field, Steelers field. So
hopefully it's like Spartan or Extra Field at Spartan Stadium. You got to keep that name in there. I think as a college thing, but that's just the way it is, and we'll get that's how you get money now in college athletics. And with the rev share coming in July, KB, where everybody pretty much gets the same amount of money, $20 million or whatever it might be. I'm curious to see how we pivot with NIL. I don't know if that's getting cars or making it. I don't know what NIL looks like going forward because everybody's going to get the same share. So I'm curious to see how we get creative or if it's salary. I don't know what that looks like.
I think it's $20 million for all of athletics, right? Like it's not just football, I believe.
Okay,
That's for all of athletics. So I think there was some people arguing against that like, hey, you can't put a salary cap on how much we can earn. So I think that it's kind of a misnomer what NIL is going to turn into. I think the time that people creating third parties that partner with the university to pay players is going to be gone.
For Sparta. That's what
Yeah,
States
yeah,
is.
yeah. So like that, for example, like Michigan has a couple, like Hail to the Victors or something like that. Is like that entity is no longer going to exist.
Right.
That money would just, disappear basically. But NIL opportunities for marketing yourselves is going to still be available through the universities. I also know that Title IX was getting into this because they're like, there's going to be an uneven payment to athletes. And female athletes aren't going to get the same amount of payments as male athletes. So this even could get hung up before July comes. But
That's proportional.
yeah. But so I don't know. We'll see. And you can't really speculate. But yeah, it's gonna be really interesting. Good that Alessio stayed. Fitzgerald contract. He's one of the lowest paid coaches, but huge incentives. I still think. Look, the 6-win incentive, fine. The 8-win incentive, fine. Giving him a win to get to giving him $500,000 to get to 7 wins is stupid as fuck. He should have a 10-win incentive. A 6, 8, and 10 makes way more sense. And if you say, well, if he doesn't win those games, well then why isn't there a 10-win incentive? Why isn't there a 9-win incentive? There aren't incentives for every game you win after 6 games. Why wouldn't you just do that? I think that's a stupid contract. It's setting yourself up for failure. Oh, hi, Max.
Hi, Mac. Sorry. What's up, buddy? We're live.
Say hello.
Well, he's on my microphone. Say hi.
Hi.
Hi, Mac.
Give me a hug. Give me a hug and go to bed.
Bye.
Sorry about that.
No,
Life
we're all
with the
good.
3-year-old.
Yeah. No,
That's fair though. It's a good critique, KB. But I mean,
yeah, like
it's a contract. It's. I
I'm
think
just
that's
saying
a
though,
good
like
incentive.
you're setting yourself up, but like you didn't do like 9 wins or 10 wins. Like that's the thing is like that's a I'm not
It's
going
a
to use
low
the term,
bar.
but like that's a poverty program type of thing to do. And you guys can say, well, it's like if that way if he doesn't make a bowl game or doesn't get to 8 wins, like but why isn't there incentive for 9 and 10? Well, then he'd be paid too much money. Well, then it's like, well, then what the fuck are we doing here? You're giving him $500,000 to hit 7 wins. 7, not 10. Not make a bowl game. I get 6 wins to make a bowl game, but 7? You get
I
$1
thought it was
million.
8. Was it 7 too?
7, you get 1. 8, you get 1.
Okay. Yeah, well, it is
I
what
just
it
think
is. I mean,
that's-
I like
I
the
just think
base.
that's
It's
stupid.
nice, especially nowadays, compared to how much other coaches are making, how much the buyout was. We don't have to buy out him. I'll take it for now. And that gives, honestly, the group chat was talking about this. We want our O-line and a little bit of the D-line to make more than our coach. Because that's how you're going to win a game. That's how you're going to win a natty. Or be competitive, I would say, in the higher up in the Big Ten. Not a natty, but be higher up in the Big Ten.
I still think it's an interesting hire. We'll see how it plays out. We'll see if because it was a 4-year deal, I believe, right?
5, which makes sense.
5.
I don't like long-term contracts, but if you're thinking about like recruiting, it's every 4 years. You're going to got to be there for 5 years. And then you add a year every year, so it's always 5 years.
Yeah, I understand it. We'll see how he's going to do, but it was nice, like you said, that Smith set you guys up for success. But enough talking about that, Chris. Anything else to cover on Alessio /
Rumor is Candle from Toledo might be the O coordinator and a co-D coordinator at Iowa. Those are the rumblings. That'd be great. Candle's a great coach at Toledo. Not kind of a step down side move, but he wants to get in the Big 4 conferences, so that'd be really great. And then obviously Iowa defense is always stout, so that's really good rumors.
See, that's what I would disagree. I think you see a lot more of OCs getting bigger jobs than you necessarily see small-time coaches, because I know there's like a background and people are not necessarily super hype about first-time head coaches, but I just think that once you make that leap, you kind of, if you don't immediately succeed in handling a much larger program and the ins and outs of it, you get fucking buried.
True. So that's a good move for him.
Yeah, I think so. It sets you up, and he's older. I don't know if he's even going to be looking at another head coaching job. He might be kind of setting himself up for just being the OC. But he
Hey,
runs
Toledo
a really creative
first game
offense.
too. Yeah, and their offense has always been good in the MAC, and we play them first game, so it'll be interesting. But we'll see. That's all I got, KB. Let's segue to the games. I'm just gonna shout out. First game is tomorrow. Is Troy at JMU? That's a big game for JMU. And obviously you got the MAC. We're Midwest guys. Miami. That's my team. I like to play with on my offline dynasty at Western. Obviously some local kids on that. Besides those 2 games, not much. UNLV, Boise. Some weird tiebreakers this year in the Mountain West, KB. I think they use a computer like the BCS. But besides those games, we're going to go into the other ones. The first one is a big game, I would think, for the group of 5, KB, to get into the playoff. We have North Texas. I don't know if this is neutral site in Tulane. Game is played at Tulane. It looks like 51 and rainy. Current line is 2.5 in favor of the Mean Green. Over under 66.5. Both teams' coaches, I think, are coaching, but both teams' coaches are also going to new jobs. So this could be very interesting, KB. I really like both teams. I'm going to go with North Texas here. I love their offense. They put up points. They move the ball well. I'd love to see a team like them make a spot in the playoff. Maybe they don't do well, but I think they have enough firepower to put up a fight for a little bit if they do make it. But Tulane, obviously, with the quarterback from BYU, is talented as well. But with both coaches being gone, KB, it's very interesting to see how things play out. I think it makes sense when a coach goes from a group of 5 team to a bigger team that you stay as long as you can. But that might hurt these teams in the future. But a fun game to start the weekend tomorrow, 8 o'clock.
Yeah, I mean, it's like this game is the de facto play-in game for the playoff, right? Because like this is the highest rated group of 5 teams playing off against each other. So like no one else
besides
has really but JMU's behind both of them because they're 25. So like whoever wins this is going to jump up. So this is a de facto play-in game. North Texas versus Tulane. I'm going to take Tulane here. I really like Retzlaff. I like his ability. Messemer, I believe, is the North Texas's name. Wasn't even a starter in high school. Really crazy story. If you have an opportunity to look him up, spend some time on that. But give me Tulane. I think that with both coaches not going forward with the program, I don't think that puts either team on like a better footing. I think both teams are going to be a little bit off-putting. I don't know how focused they're going to be, but how is it going to work with these coaches after this game? If they find out they're in the championship, are they going to stay around? Or I don't know. It's really interesting, and it overall sucks. I think there needs to be a look at again on the playoff on how all this. I think there needs to be some timing changes. Maybe even moving early signing day just away to avoid this so that everyone commits in January or whatever, or possibly even removing early enrollees. I know football teams wouldn't like that, but that's probably the only way forward to solidify this, to have everyone sign in February. It's weird that these guys are signing and immediately going to be at bowl practice this week if they're early enrollees before they even finish their last semester of high school. Give me Tulane.
Yeah, I just got to say, Mestamaker, I think, as I say it, 3,800 yards, probably hit 4,000. And they also have a 1,200-yard rusher. I mean, North Texas puts up yards, KB. So looking forward to that. Tulane's leading passer and rusher is actually Retzlaff. Their athletic team, they're going to be good. I think this could be a shootout, KB. It could be fun. But I just want to shout out that North Texas offense. He's got 29 touchdowns, 2 for 4 interceptions, so he's efficient. And they also have a really good running back, and they have a receiver over 1,000 yards. It's impressive.
Caleb Hawkins is a true freshman.
Wow.
From Oklahoma, I believe from Stillwater.
Probably going to OK State then, right?
From Shawnee, Oklahoma. And then Mestamaker is also, I believe, a redshirt freshman. I don't know if he played in enough games. It has him listed as a freshman. So one of the things, too, is that when you're coaching there is like, hey, you get everything set up. Hey, we're just going to bring most of our staff, kind of like what Kurt Signetti did, is that, hey, we're just going to bring a lot of these guys and hit other portal positions. Maybe we don't have a great recruiting class, but maybe moving forward we can. But I'm excited for this game. Make sure that you tune in Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. for me. This is one of those big games.
Absolutely, KB. Let's jump to the next one, the Big 12 Championship. I'm really curious to see how things break down, KB, for these teams that are in championships or the playoff. I don't think they'll get bounced out, but obviously Miami, Notre Dame's a conversation too. But BYU is, I believe, is this neutral site? Yes, AT&T. BYU, technically Texas hosting, both teams 11-1. The spread is 12.5 for the Red Raiders. Of course, they beat them pretty well. Over under 49.5. KB, take it away.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a really interesting game for the committee because if BYU loses a close game here, they may move up.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds ridiculous that a loss might move them up, but them getting blown out at Texas Tech and looking so fundamentally bad, looking so overwhelmed is the reason why they're so low. And they're behind Alabama because of that. And now I'm not saying Alabama didn't look also physically overwhelmed by a team that won 5 games this year. And they looked absolutely dog shit when their first time started quarterback and a true freshman. Like, there's a lot of interesting lines here. But if BYU wins this game, both of these teams are going to go in, and then who's going to be on the outside looking in? It's going to be between Notre Dame, Texas, and Miami then. Obviously, the bettors in Vegas think Texas Tech is going to win this one. I don't know how much they're playing for. I know they've been beat up by the injury bug, especially at QB, so maybe do they rock it back up in this game when they're already kind of in, or are they risking themselves getting bounced out if they don't? I don't know. I think that this is going to be an interesting game. They're going to go out there and play, but you just really hope whatever happens, both teams come out injury-free, especially the team that makes the playoff. You don't want to see injuries in these games. I'm going to take BYU. I think they got overwhelmed on a huge road start by a true freshman quarterback, and the O-line got absolutely mauled in that game, and I don't think that's going to be the same thing. I think they're going to find ways to manage this game, to keep it close as an opportunity, and when it gets to the fourth quarter, BYU has just won so many wild games, and Texas Tech hasn't really been in those games. They lost, I feel like, the one game that they were in like that, ASU, with their backup quarterback, so we'll see how this all plays out, but give me BYU, give me the Cougs. They're getting absolutely disrespected. No 11-1 team has ever been this disrespected. No 11-1 team has had one loss held against them to this amount. They're higher than Notre Dame in all these advanced analytics. And you know it's biased just to this point when they list 9, 10, and 12, but don't have the 11th team in there to compare resumes because theirs are just as competitive from an analytic perspective as the rest of them, and that's just absolutely bullshit. It's biased. It doesn't belong in the sport,
Preach.
and it's wrong. It's just simply wrong.
You know who's on the playoff committee I didn't know? Mark D'Antonio. Fun fact of the day. But I'm going to go Texas Tech, KB. I don't know if they cover. They're going to win. But they're one of my underrated teams to start the year. I picked three teams. It was like Texas Tech, Illinois, and I'm blanking on the third team. Bummer. Anyway.
Was it Missouri?
No, I can't remember to watch it. Florida. Yikes. 1 for 3. Last year I was 1 for 1 with SMU. So, I got a little taste and a little bit of sprinkle with the Big 12 for some reason. And obviously Texas Tech paid the roster a shit ton of money.
ACC.
Oh, yeah, ACC, sorry. Old, big, whatever. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
But Texas Tech paid their line a shit ton of money. The whole team, obviously, $22.5 million, I think, is what their roster costs. And, they're playing like they cost so much money. I think they'll get the job done. I think they're going to out-physical BYU again. But, hey, if the coach is staying and got that bag, maybe they come fired up. But I just like Texas Tech too much. They out-physicaled them last game. Maybe it's closer this time around. And maybe BYU covers, but give me Texas Tech to win. And hopefully it's a fun game to start the day, KB, because it's a great way to start noon kick on ABC.
Absolutely. Let's roll the next one.
Yep, SEC is the next game, 4 p.m. on ABC. Georgia, Bama, the classic, tried and true SEC Championship game. I wish Ole Miss was here, but they moved up in the polls in the playoffs, so hopefully they stay after the whole Kiffin situation. Current spread is 2.5 for the Bulldogs, over under 48.5. After the Iron Bowl, KB, I'm going to go to Georgia here. Give me the Dogs. I just think they're too much. Their defense really showed up a lot lately towards the end of the season. Stockton finds a way, it seems like, with this offense. They can run the ball a little bit with Frazier. They always have athletes on defense, and I think they can overwhelm Bama and get Bama out of the playoff, I think. Maybe not, but we'll see how they weigh that one. But give me Georgia in this defense, KB.
I think that's a very valid statement. I mean, when the committee member said Alabama going for the touchdown was an indication of why we bumped them up in the polls, is just like, and why they're valued there. I mean, just some of the things the committee members are saying.
6'7", you're an idiot.
But I'm taking Bama. I don't know quite why, but Kirby Smart has a giant boogeyman hidden in his closet. It's the Crimson Tide. It's the wave. It's the elephant. So I'm just going to continue to roll whenever he goes up against this red team. Too many red teams in college football, by the way. Just needed to make sure we said.
Hey, look at us. We stand out.
Bama is going to win this game. I think that they're going to be able to settle in. It's always a weird game playing against Auburn. I'd never take that game with any salt, or take it with a grain of salt, right? I don't look at it as a key indicator on how Alabama is on a team, especially when that game's away. So give me Bama in this game. I think they're going to make it. And I think back to 2 years ago when Bama barely escapes in a very similar fashion on the road, a Hail Mary. It came down to the last moments, and then they go and blow out, I believe it was Georgia in the SEC Championship game, end up making it in over an undefeated Florida State team, and then eventually lose to Michigan. So I just think that the Auburn-Alabama game is kind of one of those, like, the game always looks much uglier than it probably should be. But they're a really skilled team. Even their loss against Oklahoma, they outgained them by like 300 yards and dominated most of the game. It just came down to turnovers and some bad plays when plus territory.
I like it, KB. We're disagreeing all week, and I think I got the edge last week, so I appreciate you. Let's go to the next game, Big Ten slobber knocker, 8 o'clock on Fox, KB. This is a great game. I don't think either team should even move in the poll if it's close. Obviously if Indiana wins 1-2, whatever. Indiana undefeated goes to Indy playing undefeated Ohio State. -4 in favor of the Buckeyes, over under 47.5. And I'm just going to ride with Signetti and the boys, KB. It's a great story. It's been 2 years in this program, and they're going to go to the playoff 2 years in a row, regardless of the win here. I really want to see how they match up to OSU. I mean, both teams know they're in the playoff. But I think for Indiana, you're kind of playing for some respect here. They want to be like Ohio State, right? That's the cream of the crop of the Big Ten. We all know it. I mean, I know it, KB. We beat them in the past. You want to beat them. But they are the echelon of the Big Ten, along with Michigan, Oregon. It depends on the year, but the top 3 or 4 teams. And Indiana's there. And you got to respect that. Sticking the guys, Mendoza really coming on. He's a Heisman guy. Obviously, Sayan, really great. Like 79% completion percentage all year is tremendous. Obviously, the receivers going to be spoken about for Ohio State. But same for Indiana. Cooper and Surratt are great. You got Hemby and a couple other guys running the ball. Both defenses are ferocious. But give me the 4 points in Indiana. Give me some respect for Sig. And just a great story in college football, KB, with Indiana rising to the top the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, I think OSU, I mean, this might be the Heisman moment, right? Even though this game doesn't necessarily mean anything for the playoffs, even though I hope both teams still get a bye regardless of this result. Maybe if it's a blowout, you maybe move 1-4, but I really hope that a team at 5 doesn't get rewarded for not playing in this game after both of these teams went undefeated. Indiana's a really good team, man. I think one of the concerns for them is their passing offense is so heavily predicated on RPO, and OSU has the athletes to run with this receiving core. If anyone in the country can defend this receiving core, it's this Ohio State team. They're going to be able to play late in the box. Their defensive line is really aggressive. They have 2 of the best linebackers, and you have Caleb Downs. This is a very elite, well-established defense, and I think that this is going to be an opportunity for Indiana to be a bit more aggressive, maybe get away from some of the RPOs. I think RPOs are really good, but I think when you run them too much against the team this good, the team starts timing it better. They start getting into the lanes a little bit quicker. And so I'd like to see a more flushed out offensive approach from Indiana on attacking this very confusing team, and can they hang up in pass protection? Because if you look back at the film in the Michigan-Ohio State game, there were open receivers at times that Underwood missed. But between the pressure, the changing of the looks, your eyes don't get led there. And I think that's a really good thing that Matt Patricia has done in this defense is your eyes don't lead you to where the open person is. They lead you away. Your eyes go, all right, it's middle of the field closed. Oh, they rotate to 2. Well, I'm not thinking to go back to the middle to see if my guy's streaking down the middle of the field because they rotated. It's a high-level QB plays. Mendoza, who potentially could go as one of the top QBs in this draft, is he there yet? I think that's going to be a huge indication on him. Ohio State offensively, do they turn that gear on? They haven't had to. They haven't been pressed all year to really take over a game. Now, they've taken over a game in the way Michigan's offenses have in the past. We're going to score 30 and you have no chance. We're going to score 24 and you guys have no chance. We're going to take 10 minutes off the clock. Are they able to lean on this Indiana team like they have all year? Because if they do that, if it's a 29-10 game, this might be one of the best teams in college football history. Like the way that they can just eviscerate a person's soul and squeeze the life out of them. It's very Michigan 23-esque where they might not have the flashy plays. They're not playing quickly. Their offense is big chunks, 3rd and 5s, and we got a guy open. And then they just squeeze the life out of you, and you're like, God, we're not even playing that bad. And then you look up, and you're like, we have 175 yards of offense, and they have 350, and we've held the ball for 8 less minutes than them. They've ran 30 more plays. So that might be the cause of concern. Is Indiana ready to step up for this level of competition? They did it at Oregon, which is a really, really tough test Can they now go into Indianapolis for the first time in program history? I believe with the opportunity since I believe the 70s to win a conference championship.
Amazing.
And win it.
Yeah, who are you picking?
I'm going to pick Indiana. I'm going to ride with you.
Let's go, baby. I mean,
Fundamentally,
it's
can't
just
choose Ohio
such
State.
a great story, too. And obviously, Sig is something as a coach, but hey, I would take it, knowing the what happened with us 2 years ago, where we are now and them. And just a great game. I probably Gus and Klatt on the call. I'm kind of over them, to be honest. But
sorry, 1967, which was shared with Purdue.
Fact of the day.
The only outright title came in 1945.
Just the end of
So
World War
they haven't
II.
won an outright title since World War II. So they have an opportunity to do that, which I think you have to root with that team.
Hoosiers? Let's get it done. I love it, KB.
Also,
it's a fun game.
If Michigan could have hired Cignetti with all of the talent that they had withstanding, and they brought in, a quarterback as good as Curtis Rourke, that would have been fun.
Chris
too,
Rourke was a fucking underrated guy at Ohio. Never forget.
Yeah.
You love it, KB. That's the only game we're agreeing on, and I love that. I think that just makes sense. And now a dumpster fire of a conference. The ACC, Duke plays Virginia. I think this is in Charlotte. It is 44 degrees, kind of a chilly day in North Carolina. Spread is 4 in favor of the Cavaliers. Over under 57.5. I kind of want chaos, KB. I don't know why. I just kind of want Duke to win and make the playoff committee shit their pants. What do? You put Miami in, all right? They beat Notre Dame. And Duke just made the ACC look fucking bad. And the ACC doesn't know how to get over themselves. Clemson had a dumpster fire season. SMU lost when they shouldn't have. They did it to themselves. So let's have Duke cause pandemonium and chaos. Give me the Blue Devils and Manny Diaz to fucking figure it out and get a win. Yeah, I think Virginia's a decent team, KB, but they're nothing special. NC State beat them pretty well. I do like the quarterback. He's a transfer from North Texas. Morse, very athletic, runs around a lot. But give me Mensah. He got a bag to come to Duke. And give me the most ugly ACC Championship team ever and an 8-5 Duke at the end of the season. Let's cause some chaos. It'll be fun.
Yeah, and this is a rematch. They actually played the week of the 15th, November 15th that week. They played Virginia 134-17. Yeah, Virginia's had a really odd year. I mean, they lost to Wake Forest, who was not very good. They also... Where is it at?
NC State.
They lost to NC State, but that didn't count as a loss due to that being technically not a conference game. So they're in this game, and then Duke lost 3 non-conference games to Tulane, Illinois, and
UConn.
Who was it? UConn.
Jim Moore goes to Colorado State.
They've had an absolutely wild year. It would be funny if the coach that the Miami Hurricanes fired ends up winning an ACC championship after being a defensive coordinator for, I believe, 2 years, and then wins an ACC championship before they have an opportunity
Manny Diaz, Michigan State.
So, I mean, I think that this is going to be a horrible outcome for all of college sports if this happens. Conferences are too big, as we know, and it just leads to stuff like this. If the conferences wouldn't have got blown up, maybe there's an opportunity here, but you got to give me Duke. I think it's really
pandemonium.
I think it's really hard to beat a team twice in the same year. I know I kind of went against that with Bama, but there kind of seems to be a mental block there with Kirby Smart. He always kind of loses to them in the most important times, even when they have better teams. So give me Duke, give me pandemonium. What is the committee going to do? What is going to happen here? Who knows?
You have 5 conference champions get in, right?
5 automatic bids.
Okay, then. What happens if ACC's a dumpster fire?
It's going to be interesting.
Does that mean you put in JMU if they win? You put in North Texas? I mean, or you put in like UNLV out of nowhere?
You might have to throw in 2 G5 teams getting in because it's the highest ranked.
Yep.
So unless you jump Duke up,
Duke's not even ranked.
Those other teams. Yeah, exactly. So
JMU goes 12-1. Maybe they ranked entering 23rd, and then you bump 22 them to like 22 or something, or 25-24. That would be insane if they did that.
They're certainly going to do that because the ACC isn't going to miss out on getting one team in, especially when they have
it should be Miami.
12. Yeah, it's a shitty situation, all things considered. But I want pandemonium and chaos just as much as you do, Quist. I hate.
Eat your words,
playoff has come. I hate their justifications for things. I hate how year over year it's not consistent. Someone made a really good point. I would think it was Michelle Arbuckle, I believe her name is, or Arbuckle. Yeah, I can't remember what it is, but she said they choose who they want in.
Oh yeah.
And then they come up with justifications on how to explain why they're ranked, where they're ranked, and why teams aren't ranked where they're ranked. They're like, yep, we want this team, this team, this team, probably this team. All right, now how do we explain? How do we use the buffer on this to smooth out the rough edges on our decisions? That's how it feels, and I just thought that was a really good point.
Yeah. So if we had a top 4 KB like it was before, it'd be what? Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia, and
Tech,
and then Texas Tech. Yeah. Then the conference championships, I guess, would still matter at that point, except for the Big Ten one, unless you're gonna go crazy.
Well, no, I mean they might drop one of them out.
Yeah, that was a problem. Yeah.
Don't be surprised if OSU wins by like 2 scores or by like 17 if Indiana drops out and is hosting someone.
Terrible. The 5 seed though does have a good way to win the whole thing. I mean, let's be honest.
They might, but I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't be surprised if they go like a double hosting situation.
And are we expanding to 14 teams next year?
I don't know. And does Ole Miss gonna get knocked because they no longer have their head coach?
Fucking not. They're gonna have their own coordinator.
Yeah, like do they fall out of hosting? Do they fall? Because I believe. Let me look at the playoff.
Well, do you think
bracket
losing your
here
head coach is as bad as your quarterback? Because they obviously set the precedent when Florida State was undefeated. Quarterback broke his leg. They certainly set the precedent. They popped him out.
Because Texas A&M, after losing to Texas, fell behind Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Does A&M now bump up? Does OU bump up?
The teams that are playing in their conference championship should not move much unless they get blown out. Like especially the top, 8 that are there.
Yeah, they won't move that game. But I'm saying, does potentially A&M jump them? I think that could be a real possibility. But A&M's losing their offensive coordinator. I think he's continuing to coach, but he's most likely going to K-State because K-State's coach is retired.
Yeah, that was a little bit surprising.
Yeah,
he's not that old.
But anyway, but he was at NDSU for a really long time. He won all the natties there.
He did.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else, KB. I really love us going with Indiana and Duke to end it out. I think that's just pure. We respect Indiana. We love that story, and then we just want chaos, and we want the playoff to make some weird fucking decision and shoot themselves in the foot again. So we all want to get them all out and then expand again, which I don't want to expand. But we got to figure it out, and the ACC obviously shot themselves in the foot all season. Cal played spoiler multiple times. Teams should have won when they could have won. And besides that, we're disagreeing a lot of games. And then we'll see the whole Miami, Notre Dame conversation needs to be had. If A&M and Notre Dame play first round, I think that's a good rematch. But if it comes down to Notre Dame and Miami, they played each other. There's no other conversation to be had. Miami won. That's all I got to say to end out for me. Good news for Michigan State. It's been a good week in all things with KB for Michigan State. New coach, $1 billion to make things better, and $400 million probably tomorrow being announced. So things are looking up. I'm going to the hockey game, Michigan State at Munn Arena. I know the football game's big, but man, when you're in a tight little hockey rink, KB, it's really intense. I'm looking forward to that. And as always from me, it's a big go green, and looking forward to watching some good football this weekend.
Yeah, you said it best, Chris. There's a lot of good things going on right now, and I'm excited to watch these football games. It's just complete chaos, and I wish Michigan were in the ability to get here, but Chris, you said it best. I get what analytics say. I get how people talk about performance, but if we don't respect on the field's results, what's the point of playing the games? If you say, well, on a neutral site, technically Vegas would have this team favored. Like, I want you to quite literally go grab a sock from your drawer and just stick it in your mouth. You do the whole world a favor if you did that. As always, appreciate you guys for listening. Hope you enjoyed this episode. We will see you Sunday shortly after all these games. We appreciate you guys, and go Blue.